Today we're going to read another chapter from the Blackberry Farm storybook. This time we're looking for the one about Mr. Nibble. Mr. Nibble calls a doctor. Down in the big wood, Mr. Nibble and his three little bunnies, Rosie, Posy and Christopher, had gone to collect wood. Mr. Nibble had his big axe and the three little bunnies had their baskets. Chop, chop, chop went the axe, and the little bunnies neatly packed the wood in their baskets. Then, with a crash, an old rotten branch fell right on top of Mr. Nibble, and there he lay pinned to the ground, unable to move even a whisker. In vain, Rosie, Posy and Christopher tried to free him. Poor Mr. Nibble groaned aloud. He was very frightened, and his leg hurt him very much. He thought he would never be able to move again. When it says in vain, that means that they tried very hard, but they couldn't do it. I wonder what their next plan is going to be. What would you do if this had happened to you? What would we do at Nature Kindy if a great big branch fell on top of one of the teachers and knocked them to the ground and pinned them there? How would you help them? Then he saw Joe Robin hopping cheerfully through the bushes, and he called loudly to him, "Help! Help! Joe Robin! Fetch me a doctor! Fetch Ernest Owl! Find somebody strong to rescue me!" Joe Robin was very surprised and very upset, and he flew off as fast as he could to tell Ernest Owl what had happened. Ernest Owl was getting his dinner ready when Joe Robin flew in with the call for help. "Come quickly, please. There's been an accident. Mr. Nibble needs a doctor." "I will come at once," said Ernest Owl, "but we must have more help. Fetch Marcus Mouse and George the Kitten and tell them to bring a rope, and ask Lucy Mouse to hurry to Mrs. Nibble and help her get ready for the arrival of an accident. Hot water bottles, strong tea and bandages." And off they flew, Joe Robin for more help and Ernest Owl to the rescue. Mr. Nibble was glad and comforted to see Ernest Owl. "My friend, I will save you," said Ernest Owl, and he told the little bunnies to rest from pushing the branch while he studied the situation and made a plan. Soon Joe Robin arrived with George the Kitten and Marcus Mouse and a big rope. They tied the rope firmly round the branch, and when Ernest Owl cried, "1, 2, 3, go!" they pulled their hardest, and the little bunnies pushed their hardest, and Ernest Owl held on to Mr. Nibble, but they could not move the branch. Then Ernest Owl thought of Mrs. Squirrel and Hazel, who was sure to be somewhere in the wood, and he hooted loudly, "Help! Help! We need help!" And very soon the two squirrels came springing over the branches. "Come and pull," ordered Ernest Owl. "Come and help rescue Mr. Nibble." So they all pulled and pushed their hardest, and suddenly Mr. Nibble was freed. But although Mr. Nibble no longer had the branch on top of him, he still could not get up. "My leg hurts so much," he told Ernest Owl. And Ernest Owl, who had once read a book called How to Be a Good Doctor, felt him carefully all over and said, "I'm afraid, Mr. Nibble, that you have broken your leg." Very quickly Ernest Owl found a strong straight stick. Marcus Mouse took 2 large clean hankies out of his pocket, and then Mr. Nibble's leg was bound up and they carried him gently home. Mrs. Nibble and Lucy Mouse were waiting anxiously, and how glad they were to tuck up Mr. Nibble safely in bed and watch him happily drink a large cup of strong sweet tea. In a few days he was up on crutches, and the first thing that he and Mrs. Nibble did was to walk down to thank Ernest Owl for being such a good doctor. "I am glad I have been of use," said Ernest. "I like to do all I can for everyone at Blackberry Farm." You ever broken one of your bones? Maybe you needed a big bandage, maybe even a cast. Accidents happen sometimes. And we are lucky our bones, they can knit back together and recover. And our bodies can heal pretty fast. Do you know something that helps your bones to be really strong? That's vitamin D. Do you know a really good way of getting vitamin D into your body? Being outside in the sunshine. That can help your body to absorb vitamin D and to grow strong, healthy bones. So this is the story that we read every Easter Saturday, the night before Easter Bunny comes. We also read one at Christmas time, the night before Christmas. But this is our Easter Bunny one. And in the morning at our house, the Easter Bunny leaves some eggs for us to find. The Night Before Easter. The Night Before Easter by Natasha Wing. Illustrated by Kathy Curry. 'Twas the night before Easter, just before dawn. Not a creature was stirring out on the lawn. Our baskets were set on the table with care, in hopes that the Easter Bunny soon would be there. Sister and I were tucked snug in our beds, while visions of jelly beans danced in our heads. Then, out in the barn, the hens made such a clatter, I sprang from my bed to see what was the matter, when what to my curious eyes should appear but a big fuzzy rabbit with a crook in his ear. He walked on two legs, which I thought was quite funny. No rabbit could do that, except Easter Bunny. He sniffed at a pansy, a tulip, a rose, jumped over a shovel, a rake, and a hose. Then up to our house, in just a few hops, he came bearing chocolate and striped lollipops. As I sat on the stairs, not making a sound, that swift, dapper bunny sprang in with a bound. His soft fur was spotless from his head to his toe, his vest was all checkered, his tie in a bow. His eyes, how they sparkled, his whiskers, how merry, his tail was like cotton, his nose like a berry. He made not a sound, but went straight to his treasure, filled up our baskets, adding more for good measure. Chocolates and chicks and candy galore spilled from our baskets and onto the floor. And just when I thought that the bunny was done, he picked up some eggs, looking over each one. He carefully hid them on couches and chairs, the mantel, the bookshelf, and under the stairs. When our rooster crowed, he turned with a start. He wiggled his nose, then went to his cart. He sprang from the house with a single bound and bounced down the street without making a sound. I read his note as he hopped away. Happy Easter to all, and to all a great day. Here is a little story about some real live bunny rabbits. My sister lives in a farm in Invercargill, and one day her two dogs went out hunting. They found a burrow and they dug it up. Inside was a whole lot of baby bunnies. So my sister rescued the baby bunnies. She took them back to her house. She had a box, and inside the box were 8 baby bunnies. She let her little baby touch the bunnies. He gave them a little cuddle. After he'd finished, she checked them all over to make sure they were safe and healthy, and then let them go free on the farm, far away from her vegetable garden and far away from her hunting dogs. What are you two busy doing on Easter Saturday?
We made this, and it folds up, and it gets towed behind our tow truck. And it folds down into and it folds down into a caravan, and then we also made this big cabin with wood. So we put like a doormat in there, and then we've got like a little bed, and then we've got like a pillow, and we've got sort of like a couch, and we've got like some decks so like no one falls off, and we've got like a little plank, like sort of like a balcony that I can look off.
And who sleeps on the top bunk up by the pillow?
Up here.
This is just the couch.
This
So
is
that's
just
the
a sitting
couch.
area, and at night time
And then
we bring
this
these in
is-
to use for them.
And this is
Okay.
Patches who sleeps in Patches and Cutie
And Cutie
Pie.
Pie. And this is Patch's special blanket that he uses when he feels scared. His teddy bear blanket.
And this is his hoverboard.
And have you two got a message of what you want to say to the children at Nature Kindy?
Happy Easter.
Happy Easter.
All right, and what are you looking forward to doing in the morning?
Looking
For Easter eggs.
Then coming back up here to play.
Yeah.
Okay.
To play Easter for our cats.
Ah, they're going to have Easter as well.
Yeah,
Yeah.
we're gonna hide Easter eggs for them.
Okay, give all the tamariki a big wave.
Happy Easter.
Ngā mihi nui, thank you for watching our Easter celebration video. We hope you enjoyed it. Kia kaha, stay strong. Kia noho haumaru, stay safe. Happy Easter to you and all of your whānau. See you again next week. Ka kite.